What is up, Hawk fans? I wanted to briefly discuss Ladell Betts deciding to part ways with the Iowa Hawkeyes in order to take the New York Giants head coaching position. So, first and foremost, let me start here. You guys should not be surprised anymore in the current day and age of sports, in particular college sports, when coaches depart. Quite frankly, Ladell Betts probably stayed at Iowa longer than most coaches on average across Division I football. He did take the same position for the New York Giants, as I said. I need to look and see if it's for more money than what he was making at Iowa. I will say I was a little bit surprised given the chance that Kirk Ferentz gave to him in because if you guys don't remember, he was hired right out of the high school ranks to a Division I coaching position coach job. Okay. That is pretty unheard of. Okay. Most coaches, by and large, go high school. They have success in high school. They climb the ranks in college, Division III, Division II, Division I. If they're lucky to make it Division I, some coaches do start out at the college level as a consultant or as some graduate assistant position. And of course, obviously, Ladell Betts played for Iowa. So I was a bit surprised by the news. And of course, nobody had heard any inclination that he was going to leave. There was no whispers or rumors that he was unhappy. I think in this day and age, again, you really can't be surprised by anything. And to me, my guess is maybe college is not what he's looking to do. Maybe who he is, he prefers a more NFL type approach, dealing with professionals and things like that. Because nowadays, guys, being in college, coaching in college is rough. I mean, you are a full-time recruiter, especially as a positional coach, as much as you are a full-time coach. So for me personally, I don't know how much even I would like it. And just looking at it from my own point of view, I can understand if that is kind of his mindset. We'll see down the line if he does give any information on why he made the change. To me, I would have been willing to stay at Iowa a little bit longer just because Kirk Ferentz is not going to be there forever. But on the same token, there are some coaches that are obviously looked at a little bit further ahead of Ladell Betts, who doesn't, and realistically, he probably was not even in the top 15 for replacing Kirk Ferentz. I mean, even on the Iowa coaching roster, Seth Wallace would probably be number one. It's probably not Phil Parker just because of how old he is. But I would say Seth Wallace would probably be number one with his most recent advancement and pay increase. Number two, I'd probably say, depending on how Tim Lester is able to do, it'd probably be him or LeVar Woods that would be there. So I don't even think that he would be number one on the Iowa coaching staff. So I get it, guys. There's not really much to be said here. It makes sense. On a certain level, if you have to just think about coaching the same exact position group, doing it in the pros versus doing it in college, even if it is your alma mater, Honestly, I got to be honest, guys. In this day, as I always am in this day and age, I would probably prefer the pros. Now, the pros does have certain negative aspects as well. A lot of guys that do college aren't successful in the pros because it is so different. You're dealing with grown men that make more than you as a head coach, and that adds an element of difference. Whereas in college, the coaches, even with NIL, do still hold a very much of a authoritative, consequential position in these young men's lives. So it's just different. I think I would lean towards pros. And at the end of the day, Ladell Betts probably wanted to get some more experience under his belt. And I do think him going from Iowa to the NFL was a way for him to do that. It was an opportunity for him to increase and add to his coaching resume. Now, one more little tidbit, and I think that this is actually a really similar comparison. Who was Iowa's last running backs coach before Ladell Betts? It was Derek Foster. Derek Foster left almost immediately after there was the information or the allegations that were levied against Iowa football and coaches and obviously Chris Doyle. We don't know if it played a huge part in him deciding to leave, but him and Tim Polasek were the two coaches that immediately left. Kelton Copeland was, he stayed, but of course he was, it was kind of a mutual, no, it wasn't mutual. He was let go of. So Derek Foster, I'm looking at my screen behind me. He left to take the running back coaching job for the Chargers and was there from 2021 to 2023. Then he took over the running back coach position for the New Orleans Saints. And then in 2025, he took the running back coach position for the Dallas Cowboys. So that was, I believe, this past year. It says on February 3rd, 2025. So no, that's this year. The Dallas Cowboys hired Foster as their running backs coach. And see, that's the thing is, and then New Orleans Saints head coach Dennis Allen announced that Foster had been hired as the Saints running backs coach. The Los Angeles Chargers, under the direction of Foster, Chargers running back Austin Eckler totaled 44 regular season scrimmage touchdowns, ranking first in the NFL over that span and leading the league in his first two seasons. Eckler's 228 receptions for 1,805 yards with 14 touchdowns led NFL running backs in catches and receiving yards over a 3-year span under Foster's direction, while tying for first in touchdown grabs. The thing is, in this, I'm not saying that Foster has done bad in the NFL. I'm sure he's done fine. When you are an NFL coach, you are pretty much tied to whatever regime and head coach is there at that given time. And as you guys well know, the timetable nowadays, and I guess this is the case in college as well, but I would say it's less so, and specifically when it comes to Iowa, it's definitely less so. If things don't work out for an NFL, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily the case for Derek Foster, but I do think him being a part of 3 NFL teams since 2021, I do think says a lot about the fact that being an NFL positional coach, while you're still gaining some experience, it can kind of, you can go all over the place. And at the end of the day, you are tied to the head coach. And if the head coach is out, you are out. Now, that's definitely the case in college too, but specifically when it comes, but not always. I mean, in college, if you display real strength as a positional coach, I think there are times where universities will insert themselves and say, no, we got to keep this guy, or elevate them to a better position, more so than the NFL. But I don't pay attention to the NFL as much, but still, I think that the volatility in coaching in the NFL ranks is a little bit more than college, specifically when compared to Iowa. If you are at Iowa and you're doing as well, probably even less so than what we saw from Ladell Betts, there's a good chance you're still going to hold on to your job because of the requirements that these universities have. So there's a little bit more coaching safeness if you're coaching at Iowa to hold on to your job and maintain that paycheck that you have. But this is his choice. He decided to leave. I wish him the best. I think Ladell Betts did a great job. He recruited well. The running back room the last couple of years has even though we haven't seen the best numbers, I don't think that it was him. I think obviously we know with the emergence of Caleb Johnson this year and what we saw in Caleb Johnson's first year, honestly more so had to do with the lack of offensive line, as a running back usually is only as good as the offensive line. It definitely plays a huge role. A lot of Iowa fans know that whatever lack of running success that Iowa had was largely in part to Brian Ferentz. So, the main thing I look at is the room. I think he recruited well. He wasn't landing four stars left, right, and center. But if you look at some of the running backs that he landed, Caleb Johnson, he was able to flip from Cal. Caleb Johnson was a low 4-star, high 3-star with multiple Power 4 level offers. And they were able to flip him from Cal after having a strong year, 10-win season. Iowa landed high 3-star Brevin Dole. Kamari Moulton was a good under-the-radar find, pickup that obviously he was capable of playing at the Power 4 level. And, Iowa was really the only Power 4 school that was willing to give him a shot. I'm just looking at Kamari's offer sheet here. He had UConn, Akron, Central Mich, Florida Atlantic. That's who he was committed to before Iowa. So Iowa took a chance on him, and he was able to play at Iowa almost immediately. So, Ladell Betts was able to use his resources and find the right guy that was under the radar, even though he went to Cardinal Gibbons, which is one of the better high schools, but still didn't have a ton of offers, and he immediately was able to play at the Power 4 level and looked even better this past year and looks to be the next lead back for Iowa. Next year, Iowa landed Josiah Patterson. So again, was he landing massive guys left, right, and center at the running back position? No. But I think a lot of that had to do not with Ladell Betts, but with Iowa's lack of offensive success, even though Iowa runs the ball a lot. It doesn't matter if you run the football a lot. If you're not having offensive production, you're going to struggle to recruit. And then obviously Caleb Johnson had probably the second best single season that from a running back in Iowa history. So Ladell Betts did fine. If I had to give him a grade at Iowa, I'd give him a B plus. This past year probably an A. This was definitely his best year. It's just interesting because after this best season, where Caleb Johnson is going to be a first or second round pick, the latest probably a third, and he decides to leave, even though he probably would have a little bit more cachet on the recruiting trail. So whoever comes in next is going to be, peak. Iowa's going to be able to sell him and say, hey, we have Tim Lester now. Look at what he was able to do with the running game. Obviously, they're going to, know that, well, a lot of that had to do with Ladell Betts and his development as well. And positional coaches play the biggest role in landing recruits. But I think Ladell Betts did fine. There's some names that are out there. We'll see who Iowa gets. I hope they land a guy that's young, similar to Ladell Betts. But I said when Iowa landed Ladell Betts, this was way back when I first started my YouTube channel, I said that one of the downsides to hiring a young guy is to me, there's more of a chance that they will leave quicker than maybe more of an established guy that kind of wants to be more steady in his career. So, but still, I think looking for a younger guy that can connect with recruits, preferably a guy that has connections in the state of Texas and or Florida, or the South in general, would be advantageous, as Iowa has done a much better job with first it was Kelton Copeland, then of course Ladell Betts. Iowa has done a great job of reaching into the Florida area. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is a guy that has those connections to the high school ranks in some of the bigger states that Iowa can pick up on what Ladell Betts was able to do while he was at Iowa. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. This is big news in some regards, but this happens. Coaches leave. It's only one coach. We wish Ladell Betts the best. I would prefer to still have him at Iowa. Obviously, he was a decent coach. But Kirk Ferentz will be able to find a solid positional coach. He for the most part, he's done a good job of doing that. Or whoever leads the search. Iowa, I'm sure, already has guys in mind. And I'm sure that Ladell Betts had already, well, he may not have, but I would think that Ladell Betts already told Kirk Ferentz that he was considering taking other jobs and looking elsewhere. But then again, I'm not there behind the scenes, so I don't know for sure. But Iowa will be able to find somebody. At the end of the day, the most important thing is the development of the quarterback position. And Iowa's running back room could not be in better shape right now. As long as guys don't decide to transfer, that's going to be the number one priority of whoever comes in, is to establish and keep the guys that are on the roster at the running back position. The running back room is really healthy right now. Heck, it was healthy when Derek Foster left. So, error bag or whatever it is, it has kind of not been the case for a while now. At the end of the day, again, the most important thing is Tim Lester and the development of the quarterback position and developing a passing game. I am confident Iowa will be able to find a solid running backs coach. So this is not the best news, but it's also not the worst. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. By the way, I have noticed that there's especially for the basketball videos I do, there's always one guy that, or I'm assuming it's a guy, that dislikes the video, which is fine. Liking, disliking the video, it doesn't really matter, because it actually, whatever you do, it adds to the algorithm. It shows YouTube that there's people watching the video, whether there's a dislike or a like. Now, obviously, like is probably a little bit better than dislike, but I just find it funny because, for a while there, most of my videos would get 100% like, and then I really don't usually pay attention, but every now and again I'll look at my analytics, and I went in there and I looked, and I'm like, dang, there's always one person who dislikes the video. It's like, dude, if you dislike the videos, then don't watch. But anyways, all right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, comment, or dislike. Doesn't really matter. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy, will out and facts your feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you, Hawk fans. I'll keep you guys posted every step of the way. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.